record of the evening. This is Flip Wilson. The Devil Made Me Buy This Dress. I'm not exactly sure what year this is from. It's got to be like the 60s or 70s. Okay. But here we go.
We'd like to say thank you very much and welcome to the first Flip Wilson special. And in the dressing room a few moments ago, I was sitting and I was running through my mind great quotations. I like great quotations. I've always learned a great deal from them. And there were three that ran through my mind. One was the greatest quotation I've ever heard made by a woman. And the second was one that I'd written myself. And the third was a quotation made by a gentleman who I consider to be the champion of great quotations, Benjamin Franklin. Let me do them for you, see what I mean? The greatest quotation made by a woman was made by a girl named Sarah Johnson. And it was made when I was coming in to do the show out at the Los Angeles airport. It was Sarah Johnson, whom I heard tell the airline's service representative there, "If you can fly this plane 600 miles an hour in the dark and find Los Angeles, you can find my bags." I heard her say that. So I heard that. I was there when she said that. Then there's one that I wrote that I consider, it has the potential of becoming great, and I think it'll catch on sooner if more people would tell their friends. My quotation says, "Don't order a drink for the road, because the road is already laid out." I thought that was pretty good. Ben Franklin made the greatest quotations, the hippest, I'd have to say. It was Ben Franklin who said, "It's hard to forget a girl when you buy her a gift on time." I like that one. That's really a great quotation. Went by to see my minister yesterday. You know what my minister told me? He was saying how much pressure women are under from the devil and how the devil just hounds women. You know, that's rough, too, being a minister. I mean, he told me, he said, "You're coming here complaining about your problems, and I got to wage this constant battle against the devil." I said, "Yeah, Rep?" He told me his wife came in the house a few days before, and she had this box. And on the side of this box was written the name of a very exclusive dress shop. The lowest dress was $85. And that was on sale. So she walks in the house, the rep says, "Another dress? You bought another dress? This is ridiculous. That's the third dress this week." And his wife tells him, "The devil made me buy this dress." Said, "I didn't want to buy no dress. The devil kept following me. I was going down the street going, and the devil kept following me, and he kept telling me how good I look." Rev said, "I'm not going for that." He said, "Every time you do something wrong, you blame it on the devil." He said, "You blamed it on the devil when you ran the car to the side of the church." "It was the devil. You wasn't there. How do you know? You grabbed the steering wheel out of my hand." Rev said, "Well, why didn't you step on the brake?" Said, "Because when he grabbed the steering wheel, I tried to kick him. I can't kick him and step on the brake at the same time." Said, "And we had a big fight. And that's why I was in the back seat when y'all got the car open." Rev said, "Well, how'd the devil get you to buy the dress?" She said, "I was going out to... and the devil sneaked up behind me. I heard him tiptoe, you know. I didn't want to look around because I knew it was the devil, you know." The devil came up behind me and said, "Say, Mama, look at the dress in the window there." Said, "That's your size, too." Said, "It's on sale, too. Got a lot of them flowers in it like you know. So why don't you treat yourself to that dress?" told him, you better cut that out, devil. I already bought 2 dresses this week. I'm not gonna buy no dress. I'm not even gonna look at it. Devil said, well, why don't you try it on? So they're not gonna charge you nothing to try it on. I mean, that's free. You owe yourself a try on. I said, devil, you better leave me alone. And he shoved me in the door. The devil just shoved me in that door. He pushed me in the door. I said, devil, stop it, please. Then he shoved me over to where the dress was. I said, cut it out, devil. Then he threatened me and made me try it on. Devil said, you gonna buy that dress? I said, I'm not buying no dress, devil. And he pulled a gun. Devil pulled a gun and he threatened me and made me sign your name to a check. Rex said, look, said, how come every time the devil makes you do something, it's something for your benefit? When's the devil gonna do me a favor? And his wife tells him, he did already. I asked the devil about that. He said if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't even have a job. I had to disappoint a lady to do this show. Miss Johnson. I hope she's watching. And I want to, here I am, Miss Johnson. It wasn't a matter of my not telling the truth when I told you I'd be here. See, let me tell you about Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson's the president of this ladies' club. And for years, she helped me along the way, you know, because she'd invite me by to do club dates for a club meeting on Thursday afternoons. Miss Johnson's the president of this ladies' club called You Tell Me What She Said About Me, and I'll tell you what she said about you. And she's president of the club. And I was supposed to do an afternoon affair for them, and I went by to tell her that I wouldn't be able to make it because I was coming to do the special. So I said, Miss Johnson, I won't be able to make it. She said, well, what am I going to tell the girls? She said, I promised them you were going to be there. I said, well, I don't know, Miss Johnson. She said, well, can you get someone to take your place? I said, it's too late because I got to catch the plane. I got to get out and do my first special. She said, well, what about me? I said, I don't know what to tell you to do. Then there was a knock at the door. And Miss Johnson goes to the door, and there's 2 bums there. And the bums were gentlemen. You know, they weren't just raggedy bums. I mean, these guys had a little class. Well, the bum says, Miss Johnson, would you mind giving a couple of guys who haven't eaten in 2 days a meal? Miss Johnson says, certainly. They said, in return, we'd be willing to do some work for you. So Miss Johnson said, okay, how about cutting some of that wood? So the bums go and they start to cut the wood. Miss Johnson's preparing the food. Then I'm watching, and we're discussing who we're going to get to take my place, if anybody. Then, zoom, I saw a guy shoot by the window. You know, he was doing somersaults. So what was that? I was wondering what it was, and all of a sudden he came back there. I said, Miss Johnson, there's a guy doing somersaults by your window. She said, yeah. She went to the door, and she looks, and there's one of the bums. You know, and he's doing cartwheels around the yard and somersaults. Then he's spinning around. Then he ran up the side of the tree. I said, wow, Miss Johnson. Then he spun around the branch, and he jumped back down to the ground and did a little ballet there, like that. Did about 5 minutes of that. I said, Miss Johnson, why don't you get him to perform for the club date this afternoon? She said, great, so I'll ask him. So she called his bum's friend. She said, would your buddy perform for me at the club meeting this afternoon? I said, I'll give him $100. I'm surprised because she was only giving me $35. The guy said, I don't know, Miss Johnson. Said, I'll ask him. Then he turned to his buddy and he said, hey, Freddie, you willing to cut off another toe for $100? Like motorbikes. I like motorbikes. This is a great new story I've been working on about a motorbike. It's about this guy named Charlie. Charlie got a motorbike for his birthday, you know. He was happy. Yeah, I got a motorbike. I got a motorbike. And he wanted his best friend to see it, you know. He said, I'm going to ride over to my best friend's house and show him my motorbike. And he got on the bike, you know. His friend lived next door. And he calls his friend out, you know, and he shows him the motorbike. And his friend said, yeah, that's always a sharp motorbike. He said, but I bought my tennis shoes now because I wanted you to see my tennis shoes. And Charlie said, tennis shoes? So I said, yeah. He said, my tennis shoes, I wanted you to see them. Said, I'm as proud of my tennis shoes as you are that motorbike. Said, in fact, I'm willing to bet you that these tennis shoes are faster than that motorbike. Charlie said, are you crazy? Said, how's a pair of tennis shoes going to be faster than the motorbike? So you want to race? I said, yeah, I'll race you. So the guy puts on the tennis shoe, Charlie gets on the motorbike, and people were going by up into the hall of the building, and they heard them talking about it, you know, and they're knocking on the doors, you know, the apartments, telling people. So everybody started looking out of the window and said, tennis shoes against the motorbike? Yeah, right down there. Said, he's gonna race tennis shoes against the motorbike? That's ridiculous. How's the man tennis shoes gonna beat a motorbike? So right down there. And then the race started, you know, the guy on the motorbike starts up. Charlie started about 25 miles an hour. Sometimes my lips get stuck doing that. Maybe they'll cut that out. And I'm doing about 25 miles an hour, and Charlie's friend is running right alongside it. You know, said, man, he said, you better go and start the race because a lot of people got their money bet. Charlie said, okay, so I'm going to whip it up to 45. You know, motorbike's doing about 45, you know, and his buddy's running right along beside him. Then his buddy passed him, you know, his buddy passed him, you know, then he crossed over in front of him, you know, then he went back around him. And the guy started running it backwards, you know, talking to him on the motorbike. He said, you better get out of the way, so I'm going to open this motorbike up. Then he, you know, turned the motorbike full speed. And the motorbike went about 40, 45 miles an hour, 50 miles, 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, you know, then a hill, you know, a hill and a curve. Right around that curve, you know. And when he got around the curve, Charlie turned and looked, you know, he looked for his buddy, and his buddy wasn't there. He waited a few minutes. Then he got back on the motorbike and rolled back around the car. Then he looked, and his buddy's laying in the ditch. Just say, man, I said, what are you doing in the ditch? His buddy said, you ever have a tennis shoe blowout on you at 90 miles an hour? Okay, the story is about a minister. His name is Reverend Leroy. Leroy was pastor of the church of the What's Happening Now. I mean, Leroy wasn't the type of guy who'd tell you what happened a long time ago, or what's going to happen in the future. When you go to Leroy's place, he'll tell you what's happening now. The members of the congregation dug Reverend Leroy so much that they got together and chipped in, all of them chipped in, and they built Rev a new tabernacle. Well, it was really a storefront, but they renovated it. Changed the name from barbecue place to tabernacle. Put a big sign on the front. Church of the What's Happening Now, pastored by Reverend Leroy. It was the first day of the service. The day of the first service at the new tabernacle. It's early Sunday morning. Down the road, on a path, leading through the zoo, comes Reverend Leroy. Now, this Sunday morning, the rain is falling down. Brothers and sisters, the rain was falling down, and the wind was blowing. Into the pouring down wind and the rain came Reverend Leroy. As he walked through the zoo, standing there in the cage behind the bars, looking out between the bars, he said, "Gorilla." Now, you're laughing. Now, I realize that gorilla, but on the cage, on the front of the cage where it has the name of the animal, it gorilla. As Rev passes the cage, he sees the gorilla standing there, leaning on the cage, digging out between the bars. Rev thinks that the gorilla is a man in jail who's had his civil rights violated. Rev stops in front of the cage. He says, said brother, why? Why have they got you behind those bars? Said brother, whatever they said you did, you didn't do it. Said you didn't do it. He said, because I know an innocent face when I see one. Said you didn't do it, brother. Said I know. Said, look, just look at the hair hanging down in your nasty face. Said, brother, they won't even let you wash your nasty face. Said, look, said they've even got you drinking out of a trough. Said, and brother, a man has to stoop pretty low to drink from a trough. Said, we're going to do something about this. Said, we're going to get the members, said, I'm going to write down to the tabernacle, and I'm going to get the members to get together, said, and we're going to send a petition to Washington. Said, we're going to do something. Said, brother, said, all I got is $1, a raincoat, and a pack of chewing gum. Said, but you can have that. Said, I'm going to give that to you. And he walked over, dropped the raincoat, and extended his hand, which the gorilla clasped gently. Rev said, brother, I'm going to see you in a little while. And he went to pull back, and he felt the gorilla tighten up. The pain shot up his arm, down his back. Rev said, brother, I told you that I would see you in a little while. Then Rev heard his spine snap. Rev said, brother, didn't I say I would see you in a little while? And the gorilla snatched him inside the cage. Betwixt the bars. Rev threw that small opening in the bars. Broke both shoulder blades getting him in there. Then he cupped Rev's head in one paw, and he rained blows upon him with a 75-pound mass of hair-covered nut. The breeder said, brother, said, wait a minute. Said, hold it. And the gorilla snatched him by the neck. The gorilla had a handful of the man's neck. A handful of neck doesn't leave too much neck. Has anybody ever had a handful of your neck? The gorilla took him by that and he beat him off both sides of the cage. Then he slammed him around and slammed him down and jumped up and down and picked him up and flung him out between the bars. Rev got up. He brushed off his clothes. He walked over to the cage. He said, brother, said, I'm talking to you. Said, I'm talking to you. And the gorilla glanced back over his shoulder. The rep said, you know, said, you're not a man. Said, you act like a gorilla. Said, that's the way you act. He said, whatever they said you did, you did it. Yes, you did it, and some more besides. Said, I'm going to get the members to send a petition to Washington, all right, to see that you get the electric chair. Said, and oh, yes. That's for that hair hanging down in your nasty face. I hope they keep you in there so long, it'll cover your shaggy corn.
Well, that was the first half. I like it. I mean, I've never actually fully listened to him. I've watched some of the Flip Wilson show, but I've never really listened to his stand-up like that. And it's interesting. I didn't realize that he was so story-heavy. And it's fun. I like his misdirections. I like what he's doing there. But I hope you are too. I saw that Darian was in here for a second. But I know that we're competing with the Oscars tonight, so that is not that we get like a huge fucking audience for this shit anyway. But we always got Liz. Liz is always in the building. I appreciate that. All right. Now for side B.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Fine welcome. And it's certainly very gratifying to know that you feel this way and that you people have accepted my being able to sub for Johnny this week, because it seems to have caused quite a bit of difficulty around here at NBC. Earlier this evening, I was in Johnny's dressing room, and one of the wardrobe mistresses walked by, and she sticks her head in the door. She sees me, and she says, "What are you doing in Johnny Carson's dressing room?" Said, "If he catch you in here, this is the last time you're going to be on this show." So I'm very glad that you feel that. We will, during the course of the week, find some way to overcome her problem and firmly convince her that NBC, without a doubt, has established within everyone's mind that it is the full-color network. It's fun for me. This entire week is going to be fun. I've looked forward to it. And, in fact, to stand here and act so cool, I'm excited. I'm not nervous, I'm excited. In the dressing room, I felt good. I was thinking, just different ways of expressing the enthusiasm, and I was saying to myself, "Woo!" Well, it's made me think back. This is a long way from where I started. I used to work in a drive-in movie. That's right, it was really rough. But it was fun. It's a hard job, it was fun. I used to go around and shine the light in the car, tell people when the picture's over. I got $25 a week and all I could see. I'd walk around and say, "The picture's over, the picture's over." I tried a lot of things. I feel that I'm prepared to assume the responsibility for, this job. This job is like, I feel like this job is like being at a weenie roast, with me being the weenie. I just threw that in, Yes. I tried a lot of things, coming along. During my younger years, I operated my own business. It was a lemonade stand, and it was doing pretty good. The way it went is I had a big sign over the lemonade stand called "Flips Lemonade, all you can drink for a dime." That was great, and it was going along pretty well, but then you always run into a wise guy, One day a guy comes up to the stand, he says, "Is this lemonade as good as everybody says it is?" And I said, "You better believe it. This lemonade is just as good as what your mother used to make." And the guy said, "That gotta be some very good lemonade." I said, "And in addition to that, I give you all you can drink for a dime. You can't beat that." He said, "Let me tell you how I fix this lemonade. I put extra sugar in the glass. So when you turn the glass up to drink it, the lemonade starts swirling around, and that makes the sugar swirl, and lemonade gets sweeter as you go down, as it goes down. Makes it taste better. And then the lemonade is very cold. I put extra ice in the pitcher, and then I pack the pitcher in the ice." I said, "Yeah, that's all right." He said, "Give me a glass." So I gave him a glass, and he said, "I'll have another glass." I said, "Well, that'll be another dime." He said, "Now, hold on." He said, "The sign says all you can drink for a dime." I said, "But you had a glass, didn't you?" The guy said, "Yes." I said, "Well, that's all you can drink for a dime." But people caught on to that pretty quick, so I kind of cut the lemonade business loose. And I've worked toward tonight. And during the course, now let me see, things are going to be a little different with Johnny not here. The whole purpose of the show is fun. We're going to try to have as much fun, But other things will be different, such as during the course of my opening spot, I'll eliminate Johnny's genuine, authentic golf swing. We won't have that this week. No, I wouldn't infringe upon the man's right to open. You know, that's his swing. You know, I swing another way. I got my own fast swing. But if Johnny's looking in tonight, I was thinking of some way. I don't play golf myself. Well, the ball is too small. If the ball was a little larger, I'd play. But in the elevator at the hotel I'm staying at, coming up on the elevator, I heard two guys discussing the game, and I thought it was a pretty amusing conversation. One fellow says to the other, he said, say, George, he said, how's your golf game coming? George said, it's all right. It's all right. The fellow said, you should be pretty good. I mean, you and Freddie playing every other day. George said, look, he said, don't mention Freddie's name to me. He said, I don't want to talk about Freddie. You understand? So don't bring his name up to me. I said, but you and Freddie are such good friends. You guys play golf every other day. So I said, well, not anymore. So well, what happened? I said, look, I said, do you want to play with a guy who cheats on the score? Want to play with a guy who cheats? A guy who, if he makes a hole in one, he's going to take off two? Do you want to play with a guy who steals your clubs while you're watching the ball because somebody's already got your bag? Do you want to play with a guy who run through the clubhouse yelling, burn, baby, burn? Do you want to play with a guy like that? The fellow said, heck no. He said, well, neither do Freddie. Freddie. Well, I don't know where to go from there. You know, it's not going to get any better than that, right? Assuming that perhaps Johnny might be watching this evening, I'd like to say, John, I'm really having a problem with the wardrobe. You know that brought down the wardrobe I was telling you about last night? Well, let me explain to the ladies and gentlemen. And see, the wardrobe woman actually resents me. When Johnny left, he told me that I should make myself at home in his office. His office was now my office. So this morning I bought in my barbecue set. And I bought in a record player, some Ray Charles records, you know. And I invited over a couple of my lady friends. Then this evening, the broad down the wardrobe ruined the whole thing. Like she stuck her head in the door and she saw me and then she said, Johnny Carson don't allow no cooking and dancing in this office. The girls got mad and left, you know. I started to walk out myself. In fact, the only reason I haven't walked out is the fine cooperation and encouragement I received from our producer, Mr. Rudy Tellez. Rudy's a fine guy. He's always encouraged me. He says, don't worry about it if you don't hit the commercial right on time or if you're a few seconds late with the station break, everything's going to be all right. He's always been very encouraging. In fact, I met Rudy in Detroit last year. Yeah, he walked up to me and he said, take a television. They ain't going to miss it. It's always nice to have someone like that around. I have to say, I like to be honest with you people, you know? And I like to say that being a young Negro performer hosting a national television show hasn't gone to my head. Why should I let the fact that I'm in a position of power and of prominence and considerable influence affect me? I mean, why not stay cool? No, I'm not going to panic. Just be the same guy that I've always been. Ed, after the show, would you finish shining those other two pair of shoes? Really, I'm having fun. Glad to have you back, Doc. I was thinking of what area I might have gone into that would have given me the opportunity to have as much fun as I had being a comic. And I thought about it, and being a doctor. You're a doctor, right, Doc? Well, being a doctors have a lot of fun. I didn't find out until, you know, how much fun doctors had until a couple weeks ago. I was in a bar, and a guy was telling me about his wife went to the doctor. She had a headache, you know, and she says, Doc, I got a headache. And the doctor said, Said, I'm going to have to give you what's called a thorough examination. He said, now, if you remove your clothes, and the lady said, what? Remove my clothes? Said, I'm a married woman. Said, I've been married 14 years and I never removed my clothes in front of my husband, and I'm not going to take them off in front of you. I said, yeah. I said, I see what you mean. He said, well, in that case, I'm going to make it easy for you. He said, if you'll step behind the screen. Step behind the screen. So the lady steps behind the screen and she says, are you going to turn the light out? I said, but you're behind the screen. She tells him, said, that don't make no difference. Said, I'm not removing my clothes even if I'm behind this screen without the light out. I said, wow. And then goes on, he turns the light out. Then the lady removes the clothes. You could hear the rustling all over the clothes. Then the voice in the dark says, where shall I put my clothes? The doctor said, you can drop them on the floor like I did mine. Right, so they're having fun, you know, that's the main thing about it. Quite often, some of my best stories are stories that have been given to me by people. The other day, a little old lady stopped me and told me a story. I liked it too. She said it was her favorite story. I knew it would be a great story because I have a very high regard for little old ladies. I admire them. I admire them because they're cool. Little old ladies are very cool. Very cool. That's how you get to be a little old lady. You gotta be very cool. More little old ladies than there are little old men. Anytime a little old lady tells me something, I say, yeah, little old broad. Well, let me tell you a story, then you see. I like it. Visualize a street in a large metropolitan area. Coming up the street is a horse-drawn wagon. Painted in large letters on the side of the wagon, there's a sign that says, ice! There's a little fat guy driving the wagon. He's yelling at the top of his voice, yelling, ice! Ice! Get your ice! A woman calls from the upper floor of an apartment building. She wants ice. She yells down to the guy. She says, I want some ice. Said, bring me a piece, honey. Said, I want a 25-cent piece. The guy cuts a 30-cent piece because the lady lives upstairs. No elevator in the building. By the time he gets up there, he'll be 25 cents up. I threw that in. The little old lady didn't tell me that. He enters the building, leaving the horse and wagon at the curb, which I thought was very practical. No sense carrying that damn horse and wagon up there. While he's in the building, there's a fella passing along the street. As the guy gets abreast of the wagon, the horse turns and says, what a life. The guy said, what'd you say? No, I said, what a life. I say that because the little fat guy who owns the wagon never takes the time to consider what it's like being the horse. He says, 5 days a week he makes me pull this ice wagon. And Saturday he sells rides to the kids at a dime a ride. And Sunday it's all day around the park, $3 an hour. That's why I say, what a life. Fellow said, does he know you can talk? The horse said, heck no, and don't tell him either. If you do, he'll make me yell ice. Why go away sometime, you know? Go on a little trip. That's what having fun is. Doing the unusual. I'm working on a new story. It's a sequel to The Days of the Nights. Remember The Days of the Nights? Yeah, I'm working on a new thing. It's about Geraldine. Remember Geraldine? Well, King Begonia. King Begonia, who ruled the kingdom of Begonia. That's why they called him that, king.
King Begonia had two daughters, Geraldine and Ruby. People saw Geraldine all the time. They very seldom saw Ruby. But they knew she was around, because every evening at 5, the bell in the tower of the castle of Begonia would ring, and King Begonia and Geraldine would come out on that balcony there, and the king would issue a royal proclamation while the citizens below screamed, "Hooray, King Begonia! Hooray, King Begonia!" And the king would say, "He who has nothing should have less, and that which he has shall be taken from him." And the citizens would scream, "Hooray, King!" Yeah, they saw Geraldine all the time. Very seldom saw Ruby. But they knew she was around because they heard the bell. Those who didn't know were asking, "Do Ruby Begonia ring a bell?" That's right, last night, Friday night, and tonight, the highlight of our show will be your seeing Ed eat a chitlin on network television. You're going to eat a chitlin for us, right, Ed? That's going to be coming up very shortly, well, later on, because that's the highlight of the show, And we got a lot of fun things happening this evening. That's a gassy jacket, Doc. That's beautiful. Yeah, that looks like my riot jacket. You saw my riot jacket, the one I got in Buffalo out of the window? But tonight, what I wanted to do is, I hope it's not too late for me to ask you to join in my New Year's resolution, which is to try to get a congressional committee to investigate the pet shop owners. Those guys have been getting away a long time. I like animals. And a couple of days ago, I was in the pet shop, browsing around the afternoon. I go in the shop. This shop specialized in birds. The guy that ran that shop was treating those birds like dogs. While I'm there in the shop, a woman comes in. She says, "Sir, is this a pet shop?" The guy said, "That's right, lady." He said, "It's not a hamburger stand." Lady said, "Do you have any birds that sing?" The fellow said, "Lady, every bird in this shop sings. So before I take a bird in this shop, they have to audition. So most of these birds got records out." Lady said, "If the bird can't sing, I don't want him. I want a real singer." And I said, "Look, if I tell you the bird can sing, the bird can sing." I said, "Come here, I'll let you see my best singer." There he is. The bird can really sing. He has arrangements to all of his tunes. When he starts to sing, those other birds shut up and listen. Because they know that this bird got talent. I said, "If I didn't really need the money, I wouldn't sell you this $300 bird for $8. I said, "You're going to save additional money with this bird because you only have to feed him every other day. So this bird's a natural entertainer. He's not used to eating regular." They said, "Can the bird sing?" And I said, "You bet the bird can sing." So the lady takes the bird, runs out of the shop. 10 minutes later, she charges back in, runs over to the guy. She said, "I want my money back." The fellow said, "What is it?" She said, "You know what it is. Don't act stupid. You know when you sold me that bird, one of his legs was shorter than the other." The guy said, "I'm not refunding any money. That's your fault. When you came in here, you asked for a singer. If you wanted a dancer, you should have said so."
Well, that was The Devil Made Me Buy This Dress by the great Flip Wilson. He must have been guest hosting for Carson on The Tonight Show when he recorded these. Which is very interesting. I wonder if he's the first black comic to do that. Which would be really, really, really cool. Also, whenever he does his female voice, I think of Luanda Page. Like, that sounds just like Luanda Page. Makes me feel like he's doing a Luanda Page impersonation when he does that voice. I could definitely see how he became, I think he was the first, he definitely was like the first like multi-millionaire, nationally syndicated black comedian. And I can definitely see, because his stuff is not, it's not heavy racial, but he doesn't He doesn't ignore the fact that he's black, of course. But it's just it's very general stories, right? It's very, this is what happened to me as a person, not what happened to me as a black man. As opposed to what we listened to with Dick Gregory, which is very much more focused on his interactions and his experiences from the viewpoint of a black man in America. Flip is definitely making it a little bit more, I'm just a man and I'm just an American who happens to be black, which I think, obviously, you know, even today, the white masses love that. They love when someone is a palatable, digestible black person, right? They don't want you to be too revolutionary. They don't want you to be too woke, you know. But they also, you know, don't want you to be a white comic, right? Like, they don't want you to be Wayne Brady. They want you to be a little bit in between. Well, I mean, now maybe, though, after Chappelle and we've had all these revolutionary comedians, you might be able to say that you can actually be a lot more revolutionary now, depending on how you play it. But I just wonder, do you sell more records? I mean, do you sell, not records, but do you more, I don't know what the word is. Not too black? I don't know. I think about like what's happening with Lil Nas X. People are like, I have never seen someone be so aggressively gay. Like he's being too gay now. He can be gay. He can be a little gay. He can say he's gay. But once he start being actual gay, real gay, this is really gay. This nigga's being gay with the devil. Then it's a big problem, right? So it's like how black can you be to maintain your audience and then how general can you be to keep a black audience? I mean, there's also that. That's very interesting. All right, moving along. Our next piece is Flip Wilson, You Devil You. He definitely uses the devil in a lot of his stuff. I feel like he's very appropriate for what's happening today. He also seems to be an amazing actor, amazing voice actor. The Oscars are tonight, and I'm sure if it was today, he'd be in a lot of different movies and probably at the Oscars tonight, if not hosting. So let's continue with this, because fuck that noise.
We're recording this silence. It's going to be part of my new album. We're going to have, well, we want to make the album different, so we're going to have the album will run about 38 minutes, and we're going to have 20 minutes of silence. It's going to be an out there album. Like everybody can, either you can sit there and during that 20 minutes and let your mind just wander, or you can sit there and ask the other people listening what's on their mind. Or just everybody just start talking about what's on their mind at the same time. And therefore, every time you hear it, it'll be different. See? So that's why I'm not being funny right now. That's on purpose. So that shows how good this album actually is. Because I could be perfect. I could come out here and have people standing up, running out of this room like they did the first show. He's a guy who's going to take your $3.50 to the bank in the morning. Just thought, I feel fine this evening. In fact, I feel so well, what I thought I'd do is let you in on my new policy. I have a new policy called Flip Wilson's New Policy of Being Fair with the Audience. Now, let me tell you what this is. Generally, when comics are getting underway, they open with their best stories. Then, once they've gained the audience's confidence, they drop the bomb. The bad story. I feel that the audience knows that every comic does bad stories. So why sneak them in on people? Why should the audience have to sit there and sweat out when the bomb's gonna fall? So it's my new policy to do my worst story first. Do it and get it the hell out of the way. Let the audience relax. It's a rotten story. I guess the best way to describe the story would be to say it's one of those stories that creep up on you later, like those Fruit of the Loom shorts. Well, let me tell you the story. You see what I mean? It's a rotten story. The scene is ancient Rome. There's a Roman. His name is Herman. His name is Roman Herman. That alone gives you an idea of how bad the story is. Woo, that's terrible. The fad of the era was eating berries. Everyone loved berries. They'd walk around with little pouches. The pouches would be filled with berries. One day, while Roman Herman's roaming the outskirts of Rome, that's a little rhyme. Get that rhyme? I put that rhyme in because quite often dropouts come in to catch the show. Them dumbass dropouts like those rhymes. One day, while Roman Herman's roaming the outskirts of Rome, Herman spies lying beneath a bush the most magnificent berry he's ever beheld. Herman stops next to the berry. He stands there praising it, admiring it. He says, damn, what a berry. Look at the shape of that berry. The texture, the way the twigs hanging on the side. 3 hours, Herman stood praising the berry. He decided to sneak the berry back into Rome. He waits until about 4 that morning. That's a good time to sneak, 4 in the morning. If you run into anyone, they're sneaking too. Herman goes straight to his best friend's house. He awakens his friend and shoves the berry in his friend's face. His friend said, damn, Herman, what a berry. That's a hell of a berry you got, Herman. I said, Herman, you'll make a lot of money with that berry. People will give you $1 each to look at that berry and praise it. The fame of Herman's berry spread across Rome. Pretty soon, everyone in Rome saying, have you seen Herman's berry? Where do you get a look at Herman's berry? What a berry that Herman got. One day, the 3 wise men show up. They're coming to see Herman's berry. And they have their wives with them, too. Well, these guys had gotten pretty lonesome on a long trip once before. They looked at the berry. They praised it. In fact, one of the wise men's wives said, that sure is a nice berry, Herman. Give everybody a plug, you know? Herman became wealthy from the berry. He built a mansion and got married. As a wedding present, he gave his wife his berry. Well, that's a different story. One evening, Herman and his wife were relaxing in front of the fireplace. They had the berry laying on a pillow. There's a knock at the door. Herman goes to the door. There's a knock. He wouldn't have gone if there hadn't been a knock. I'm going to stop telling the audience there was a knock. I think from now on, all I'll say is Herman went to the door. Then you can say, must have been a knock. When he gets to the door, there are 2 guys there. They have spears. They draw their spears on Herman. They say, you're the guy with the berry? Herman said, that's not my berry, that's my wife's berry. I gave her the berry. You come to praise her berry? They said, no, we come to seize her berry, not to praise it. That's why I wanted to get it out of the way. It's a rotten story. Terrible story. You didn't have to applaud, because my manager told me to stop doing that story. I do it anyway. I say, what the hell, whether you laugh or not, this is a lot easier than parking cars. I'll be practical about this thing. I should have been a singer. Originally, I wanted to be a singer. You know, those guys get all the girls. They come out and they're sharp. They lean over the stage and sing to the girls. And the girls swoon at them. Sing that song, honey. Sing that song. You ever notice a lot of times those guys spit when they sing? You know? A lot of times they're spitting on the girls. Girls like that. So it makes girls swoon, that spit. Brings out secret passions in a girl when you spit on her. Try it. Go home some night when your lady's asleep and lean over the bed and watch the secret passion it brings out. Smack! Just shot right in the jaw. In Vegas recently, a guy came up after the show and he told me about a millionaire who lived there in Vegas who decided he wanted to give an unusual party for his friends. He called the party Night in the Everglades. From Florida, he flew in palm trees, tropical brush. He lines them around the pool. He flew in a Seminole Indian rock and roll band called Bow and the Arrows. He also flew in 20 alligators. He puts them in the pool. To impress his friend with how liberal he was, he invited his Negro gardener. Personally, I think you're being pretty damn liberal when you bring alligators. Well, the party's going on, everybody's having a ball. And the host stops the band, he gets the guests around. He says, look, as an added surprise, I've decided I'm going to offer either my daughter's hand in marriage or $1 million to any guy who'll swim that pool of alligators. There's an immediate undertone of conversation. Well, everybody talking. Splash! They turn and look, and they go to the Negro gardener down the pool. When he gets out of the other end, the undertone of conversation increases. The fella's friends go to him and they say, Fred, you made the offer. You gotta pay off, Fred. If you don't, everyone will say you're not a man of your word. Fred goes over to the gardener and he says, you won the bet. Which do you want, my daughter or $1 million? And the fella said, neither one. I want you to tell me who shoved me in that damn pool. And then, not too long ago, I guess about 3 weeks ago, a lady called me. I'm in L.A. I'm doing a Joey Bishop show. The lady called me right after Joey had made the announcement that I'm on the show. The phone rings and the lady calls me. She's calling me from Chicago. And the lady told me a story. Well, I did it on the show right at that moment. Generally, I think about them a little bit. It's about 2 Negro women sitting in the beauty parlor. One lady says to the other, how do you like my hair, honey? You think it's all right? The woman says, yeah, it's nice. I like it. She said, are you sure people won't talk about me? You like it, don't you? The woman said, yeah, I like it fine. She said, you telling me the truth, ain't you? The woman said, well, what do you think is wrong? She said, you don't think it make me look too Polish, do you? In traveling, lots of unusual things happen in traveling. A few weeks ago, I'm riding a train between New York and Washington. When I boarded the train, the first thoughts, find my seat, get settled, and relax. Once I got settled, I glanced across the aisle, and I noticed the woman occupying the seat there had a baby with her. Ugly baby. Bad-looking baby. I want to make it clear that generally I'd be reluctant to express an opinion of someone's kid. But I know an ugly baby when I see one. And I'd only glimpsed it. Quick look. And this fella enters the coach. He's half smashed. When he gets to the section where the woman is with the baby, he stops and he's staring. And the lady's watching him. She heard him when he said to himself, damn. And the lady said, what are you looking at? The guy said, I'm looking at that ugly baby. So that's a bad-looking baby, lady. That's a hell of a kid you got there. So I bet you save a lot of money with that baby. You don't have to hire a babysitter. No one's going to bother that kid. The woman took this as an offense. She pulls the emergency cord, the train stops, there's a big scene, the conductor comes running in. What's going on in here? What's going on in here? The lady said, this fella just insulted me. I don't have to spend my money to ride this railroad and be insulted. The conductor says, now calm down, lady. He said, madam, he said, the railroad will go to any extent to avoid having differences between the passengers. So perhaps it would be more to your convenience if we were to rearrange your seating. And as a small compensation from the railroad, if you'll accompany me to the dining car, we'll give you a free meal. Then maybe we'll find a banana for your monkey. Everyone has idols, people who inspire them and drive them on to new horizons. The idols were the knights. Remember the knights? What great guys the knights were. But before I get into the situation, I have to say that I don't see grounds for anyone to question my making the statement. During the days of the knights, there must have been dark nights. Had to be dark nights. I think the knights were great. You gotta really dig abroad to fight a dragon. Let me give you my concept of a rescue. Let's take a scene where one day a knight is riding down the road. There's a princess. She's being attacked by a dragon. She's calling for help. She's saying, "Help! Help! I'm being attacked by a dragon. I'm in trouble, honey." As the knight rounds the bend in the road on his horse, and the princess hears him approaching, she calls out, "Who's that clippity clopping down this road?" And the knight says, "That's me, Mama." Said I was sitting around the castle, I didn't have nothing to do. And I said to myself, "You ain't got nothing to do. And you're sitting around the castle." So I decided I'd rescue a princess. She asked, "Are you a knight?" He said, "Every day." She tells him, I'm a princess, honey. My name is Geraldine. Princess Geraldine. What's your name? He said, "My name is Overnight." That's when she asked, "Would you kill a dragon for me?" He said, "Kill a dragon? Damn." So I've been asked to climb a mountain, swim an ocean, cross a desert, never to kill a dragon. So that depends on how big the dragon is. If he just came out of the egg, I'll kick his ass. She tells him, "It's a little dragon. He's a little dragon. Yeah, but he got fire coming out of his nose. There's a hissing sound. Then, boom, fire come out." He said, "A hissing sound, then the fire come out." So that hissing sound means it's one of them butane burning dragons. That's probably the one that escaped from the Chow Mein Company. They cook their food with dragon fire. He said, "Why don't I rescue you tonight and kill the dragon tomorrow?" She tells him, "No, you ain't either. You gonna fight a dragon for some of this." Knight has his sword, he's banging on the bushes trying to find the dragon. The princess is helping him. She's saying, "Dragon, dragon, bring your ass out here now. So you gonna get in trouble. Just shooting that fire on people." After 5 minutes, the knight said, "Mama, he's gone." Then he probably went back to the butane company to refill his tanks. But this is our chance to get away. The princess says, "I'm still afraid. I'm still afraid. Can I stay with you overnight?" He said, "I'm off all day tomorrow, too." Did you read in the paper the other day about that gardener? The gardener who took the LSD? Yeah, some gardener. See, and he worked for this wealthy guy, you know? And the guy had been on a trip. He'd been to England. He'd been gone for months. And he was flying home to surprise his wife. And the plane landed at Kennedy. He didn't have his chauffeur meet him. You know, he picked up a car there. And he drives into the driveway of his mansion. The first member of the household staff he ran into was the gardener. The gardener's name was Harry. And Harry had taken the cube about 20 minutes ago. And Harry was standing there watering the lawn. And the boss walks up and said, "What's happening, Harry?" I said, "Ain't nothing happening." He said, "Ain't a damn thing happening. Other than the dog died." Boss said, "The dog died, Harry?" I said, "How'd the dog die?" He said, "He found some dead horse meat in the barn, and he ate it, and he died." And I said, "Dead horse meat in the barn? How did dead horse meat get in the barn?" So I said, "The barn caught on fire and burned up the horse, and the dog ate the meat and died." I said, "The barn caught on fire?" I said, "How? How the hell did the barn catch on fire?" He said, "It was the sparks from the house."
So the roof of the house was burning, and the sparks flew over to the barn and burned the barn and the horse, and the dog ate the meat and died. I said, the house? What do you mean the house? I said, how did the house catch on fire? I said, it was the candles. The fire from the candles caught under the curtain and shot up the wall of the roof, and the roof started burning, and the sparks flew over to the barn and burned the barn and the horse, and the dog ate the meat and died. I said, the candles? What candles? So we got all the electrical fixtures in the house. So where'd the candles come from? So there's the candles around your mother-in-law's coffin. See, the mother-in-law had a heart attack and died. So we put the candles around the coffin, and the fire caught on the curtain and shot up the wall of the roof, and the roof started burning, and the sparks flew over the barn and burned the barn and the horse, and the dog ate the meat and died. I said, my mama had a heart attack and died. So I heard, what the hell went on around here? He said, I'm not going to tell you one more time. He said, your wife ran away with the milkman. When your mother heard about it, she had a heart attack and died. That's when we put the candles around the coffin, and the fire caught on the curtain and shot up the wall of the roof, and the roof started burning, and the sparks flew over the barn and burned the barn and the horse, and the dog ate the meat and died. Now, other than that, ain't nothing happened.
That was side A. That was pretty tough. I really enjoyed that last one. That last one was a feat, man. Shit. Yeah, that last one was really impressive. I don't know. I don't have much to add to that. I'm just impressed. You know what I will say? I can see the lineage between Carlin, him, and Cosby, though. I can definitely see that connection. And I can definitely see how Carlin definitely is inspired a lot by the silliness in the way Flip tells his pieces. Also, what's up, Chris? Good to see you, bro. Thank you for stopping by. We're listening to Flip Wilson tonight on the Comedy Vital Vibes every Sunday night at 9 p.m.
You know, I might as well open up. Things have gone better than I expected. I was upstairs washing dishes, waiting for the cub to empty out so I could clean up down here. The manager came up and said, Flip Wilson didn't show up. You're on next. So don't give me a hand when I'm finished. You want to do me a favor, stack up some of these goddamn chairs. Pick up some of this paper laying around here on the floor. That'll be a big help. I don't know where this thing started, where people believe that entertainers have lots of girls. You know that? People imagine that let them go from city to city, and wherever we're appearing, girls mob us, tear our clothes off, ravish us. When? When is the ravishing gonna start? I tear my own clothes off, honey. I'm not gonna hold up a ravish. Everybody needs a little ravish every now and then. Now, I admit you meet a lot of girls. You gotta be careful. But last year, I'm here in Chicago. One of the guys in the band says to me, last night at the show, said there's gonna be a party tonight after the show. You wanna go to the party? I say, yeah. You can go to the party, get a cookie. So he says you have to bring your own date. Everyone has to bring their own date. I tell him, wow, I don't know if I can make it, because I didn't know any young ladies here in town. He said, look, I got a girl's name here in my address book. Her name is Lulu. She has her own car, sports car, white wall tires, stereo, stick shift, seat folds back into a bed. Said she'll pick you up, bring you to the party, and take you home. So I'm pretty sure no one's asked Lulu. So it runs through my mind. How come no one's asked Lulu? I say, how does she look? He said, wait till you see that car. White wall tires, stereo, stick shift. I said, but how does she look? He said, she'll pick you up, bring you to the party, and take you home. I said, I'm pretty sure no one's asked Lulu. I said, damn, nobody asked her twice. He said, do you want to go to the party or don't you? He gives me the number. I go to the phone. It's a 5-digit number. I go to the phone, dial 4 digits, and Lulu answered. She said, yeah. We go to the party. We're in the party about 15 minutes, and the host comes over. He said, look, he said, I want to talk to you. Can you bring Lulu? You bring the broad who looks like someone hit in the face with a bag of nickels. Get her out of my party. She's been here 15 minutes, and she started 3 arguments. So I tell him, we'll speak to those other people. Make them leave her alone, and she'll be all right. The guy said, I'm not speaking to anyone else. You're going to get her out of here. Said, she just smacked Sonny Liston. Said, Sonny's looking for the guy that brought her to the party. He said, damn, you tell her to meet me at the car. When Lulu arrives at the car, she wants me to drive. I can't drive. I've been drinking. I'm not going to get behind that wheel when I've been drinking. I know how I drive after I've had a few. I've already promised myself if I drive, I'm not riding in there. She's drunk. She can drive. So Lulu's driving. I notice she's holding the wheel with one hand, and on her lap is a small brown bag. It's an intersection, a red light. Zoom. Lulu ran the light. Get it? Zoom. She ran the light. Then she came back and got the car. She ran the light. The policeman saw us. He chases us, pulls over us, and he approaches the car. He's a perfect gentleman. He said, lady, you ran the light back at the intersection. But in this instance, I'm not going to give you a ticket. So I'm merely going to warn you and suggest that in the future, when you approach an intersection, that you'll exercise a little more caution. She said, I did what? She said, I ran what light? She said, I didn't run any damn light. This looks to me like police brutality. And I said, don't get upset, lady. Don't get upset. She said, what do you mean don't get upset? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving along here drunk. So I'm on my way home from the party. And I said, but I'm not going to give you a ticket. It's only a warning. She turns to me. She said, will you hold this little brown bag? I said, would you like for me to talk to the man? She said, no. All I asked you to do was hold the bag. I said, I'll talk to the man. She said, I started this. I'll handle this. Then she turns to the officer. She said, you can't give me a ticket for nothing. She said, that light didn't change until I was in the middle of the intersection. She said, I saw the light. And I saw you. And I saw you see me. And you saw me see you see me. And I didn't run any damn light. This is the same way that riot started in Los Angeles. Now I realize how critical the situation has become. I know it's up to me to straighten it out. So I leaned over. I said, officer, she ran the light. So I realized there was a possibility of her running the light. And I tried to warn her. But before I'd gotten it out, she'd passed in the intersection. So I appreciate your stopping us, not giving us a ticket, leaving it at the warning stage, and she's sorry. She said, I'm what? What do you mean I'm sorry? She said, I started this argument with the officer. I don't need you to sit there and Ralph punch my argument. She said, I'll handle my problem. You got enough problems of your own. You're sitting there with a damn bag of marijuana on your lap. Rough situation, rough situation. There's a meeting tomorrow night. Fun. I gotta say hello to my cousin upstairs in the kitchen. Yeah. I had an uncle who had a chance to be an entertainee. So he got a little nervous. Well, everyone should be nervous. He got a little more nervous than was necessary. Well, my uncle was around during the very great popularity of the radio programs. Remember those shadow programs? When the shadow was on? My uncle was janitor in a radio station that featured the shadow. And one Sunday evening, the fellow who did the opening intro to the shadow program didn't show up. And the station manager says to my uncle, he said, look, run down this script for us, will you? My uncle read it. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts and minds of men? The shadow knows. I said, great, run it again. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts and minds of men? The shadow knows. You know, about to go on the air. The guy said, going on the air. Countdown. The guy points to my uncle. Uncle said, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts and minds of men? The shadow do. Got a little more nervous than he should. Does anyone here owns one of those little foreign sports cars? Get rid of it. Those cars are dangerous. My buddy had one. What a situation. First day he got it, he picked his girlfriend up, took her out for a ride on the expressway. Instead of using the rearview mirror, he was glancing back over his shoulder. Smash! Right in the wall. Terrible accident. The girl got out all right. His arm got mangled. So bad it was hanging on by one little muscle. He got out of the accident, he looked at his arm. He said, damn. Said, I better see a doctor about this. So he rushes over to the doctor's office. He shows him the arm and he asks the doctor what could be done. The doctor said, fellow, all that I suggest would be to cut it off. And I said, look, I'll let you cut my arm off. So I came to you to get it fixed. So there must be another doctor in town who's had a little more experience with this type of thing. The doctor said, there is. Another guy on the other side of town. Go see him. So he jumps to the cab, he rides over the side of town, runs into the doctor's office, shows him the arm hanging on by the little muscle. And he explains that the first doctor said I'd have to cut it off and ask his opinion. The doctor said, fellow, all that I can suggest would be to amputate. He said, well, that's better than cutting it off. The doctor said, no, that means the same thing. He said, look, I'll tell you what. He said, there's one guy, he's the world's greatest doctor, Dr. Freddy. Dr. Freddy. He has his office in Vienna. Why don't you go see Dr. Freddy? He said, Vienna? Yeah, that'd be nice. He said, I can go get my arm taken care of, and I can pick up a couple cases of them sausages. Said, I like them sausages. Said, them Vietnamese sure know how to make good sausages. So he flies to Vienna, he gets the appointment with Dr. Freddy, walks in the office. Freddy's sitting there, got a scotch and water, a Ray Charles record on the box there. Freddy said, lay the arm on the table. And he laid the arm on the table and he explained to Freddy, but the other two doctors said they'd have to cut it off. Freddy said, well, just a minute, I'll check it out. You came to the greatest. I'm the one who knows what's going on. I'm the doctor. You just relax and keep that arm from falling on the floor. Then he goes over and he gets a giant medical volume down, he's reading it. He said, Said, yeah. Said, that's what the book said. Said, and he gets his microscope, he looks at his little muscle. Said, damn. Then he turns to the guy and he says, you don't mind if I turn that record over to you? He turns the record over. Said, yep. Said, fella, said, we don't have to cut that off. The fella said, no. Said, hell no. 10 minutes, that's gonna fall off by itself. I'm gonna go say hello to my nephew upstairs. I got a nephew upstairs. Say hello to him. Put a little holiday greetings in there too. Last night I spelled his name wrong. One of the customers said, you spelled his name wrong. You sound light up. You know, I've been having headaches lately. You know where that comes from? Every now and then I regress. When I was a kid, I used to love the tra-la. Remember how when you were a kid, everybody used to tra-la when they were a kid. Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. I just love the tra-la. All the neighbors just say, see that kid? He sure knows how to tra-la. A long time ago, there was a little boy. And, well, let me tell you why I do this story. The way the entire situation came about. A couple of days ago, I went out to one of the schools in the poverty area to talk to the kids. And my reason for going was the teacher had asked me. That's one, a personal invitation. Like she rolled over that morning and said, she said, why don't you come talk to the kids? How could I tell her no? So I go out and I'm sitting there, you know, kids, you know. And one little kid asked, said, Miss Lewison, is America the land of opportunity for a spade? I said, damn, I can't let this kid lose his faith in America. So I told him the story of another kid, a long time ago. This little kid, living with his mother leaving the yard, and they noticed he's doing a lot of weird things around the yard. So he took him into the doctors. The doctors checked his head, shined a little light in his ear. The doctor said, damn, he's almost off his cookie. This kid's damn near gone. So they're going to take brain surgery to save this kid. But he's too young to operate right now. We better wait a few years. And they waited. And all the years went by, the kid went further and further out. Further and further out. Further and further out. Bye, kid. Further and further out. Finally, his parents rushed him into the specialist. The specialist shined a light in his ear. Said, see, he's gone now, yo. So we'll probably never catch up with him. So they rushed him into the hospital. And they're operating. They flew in leading brain surgeons from around the world. They're operating on his head. And taking things out, dropping them all on the floor. 5 hours they operate. Then the bell rang. Coffee bell. Time for the doctors to go to coffee. One doctor said, man, it's time to go to coffee. Another doctor said, I'm not gonna, huh? How are we gonna go to coffee? We're not finished with the guy. Another doctor said, damn, if I'm missing coffee. We've been here 5 hours, Jack. You can go to coffee. He's not going any place. So they went to coffee. They were gone about 15 minutes. When they came back to the operating room and looked, the patient was gone. They sent out bulletins all around the hospital, all around the state. They didn't find the guy. That's what convinced me that America's the land of opportunity. The escaped mental patient went on to become the governor of Alabama. Well, well, well. I'm gonna smoke. That's what I'll do. I smoke. You know? Yeah, that's it. So I'll just light up here. Feel it growing down there. Yeah. I'm not afraid of dying of cancer. You know that? You know the articles. You die from cancer. More people to die. And to hell with it. I don't give a damn. You know that? I'd rather die from cancer than die in an airplane crash. You know? Airplane crash. Boom! It's all over. Cancer, you can lay around and watch Ed Sullivan. You know? Get some of them specials that they got on television. See some of those Peanuts shows. You know that? Get in 3 or 4 of them Peanuts, everything's all right. That's better than dying from nothing. You know? That's better than just somebody saying, you heard Flick died. Say, yeah, what did he die from? Nothing. He didn't die from nothing. No reason at all. He just, whoop. You know? I have a reason for dying. I guess a reason for me standing here dying. I'm not dying for nothing. Getting paid to die. I'm doing my job right now. I'm doing a hell of a job, too. think they want to throw some dirt on me. I say, well, they better kick some dirt in there. There's a broad in there last night. Ugliest broad in the world. And I had been talking about ugly people, and she felt flattered. You know? Felt like somebody was paying a little attention to her. And I asked her what made her think that she was telling me she was the ugliest broad in Chicago. You know? And she was telling me that there had been a contest, and all of the girls had to write what particular situation might have occurred that made them feel that they were the ugliest broad in town. And she won on the basis of having written about the time that a peeping Tom looked in her window and closed his eyes. Yeah. Peeping Tom named Harry. He just used Tom because he wanted to maintain his reputation there in the club. Good night, girls. It's gonna be all right. Yeah, well, I understand. No sweat. No sweat. If I thought you were going outside to wait for me, I'd leave too. If I thought you were going, if I could flatter myself. Good night, princess. I'd fight a dragon for you, Mama. I'd kick a dragon's ass for her. I'd kick her and the dragon's ass for a girlfriend. Well, it's getting close to time to be off soon. I always become a little bit nervous near finish time. So much danger in going home at night. You're going down dark streets half smashed. I had an experience about a month ago. On the way home from work. I'm going down a dark street. No lights on the street. That's why it was dark. There's an alley leading into the street. No lights in the alley either. If there aren't any lights in the street, they're not going to put lights in the alley. Shouldn't have to explain that. I said the street was dark. As I'm passing the alley, I heard a sound like "Tsk, tsk." Say to myself, there's a snake there. I look and there's two bandits hiding there in the alley. One of them has a baseball bat. The guy that has the bat says, "Stick 'em up." Let me show you how fast my mind works. The moment he said that, a voice in the back of my mind says, "This guy's gonna rob you." Right away, I know he's an amateur because professional bandits use guns. Professional bandit carries a gun. That way, if he's robbing someone and the police comes, he can put the gun in his pocket and run. How the hell are you gonna run with a bat in your pocket? Or I say to myself, I'll talk him out of this. He don't know what the hell he's doing. All I have to do is drop a short, heavy story on him. You gotta go for it. You gotta come on strong, I know this. So I say to the guy, I said, "Do you know who I am?" He said, "Damn right, you're the fellow who's gonna get hit with a bat and robbed." I said, I better change my approach. This guy know what he's doing. He done this before. So I said, "Now, fella, I'm not gonna stand here and let you hit me with a bat." He said, "Don't get upset." He said, "Don't get upset because you're being robbed." He said, "Everybody gets robbed." He said, "It's your turn." He said, "Some people get robbed with a car note, some people get robbed with a house mortgage, you're getting robbed with a bat." He said, "Don't try to get away from it." He said, "Take a moment to consider that if you try to make any evasive tactic like ducking, the great psychological pressure you'll be putting yourself under if you make me miss the first time." I said, "Yeah, that's right, too." So this ain't one of them dumbass bandits. No, I said, "Now look, fella," he said, "the cops will get you." I said, "Because I got a very good memory, and I'll give the police a complete description, and they'll get you and your buddy." He said, "If you got anything you want to tell the police, you better write it down before I hit you with the bat." That's when I started to cry. And the guy said, "Get up." So I'll speak to my buddy and see if he wants to give you a break. And he goes over, he talks with his partner, he comes back, he says, "Look, my buddy and I have discussed it, and we decided we're not going to rob you, but we're still going to hit you with the bat." I'm gonna do that now, honey. I wouldn't leave without paying respects to the guy who made all of this possible. Gret's gonna find Ray Charles, honey. He gone to America on that boat.
Well, that was the end of that record. Yo, Chris, if you want to come up and discuss what we heard, just raise your hand. I'll bring you up. If you don't, if you just want to chill back, it's fine. Yeah, I'll bring you up. Hold on one second. What's up, bro?
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Cool. Good to hear you, man. I miss that deep voice of yours.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I've been buying some old albums myself and listening to. I bought one of those turntables that turn it into MP3s. So I dig what you're doing, man.
Oh, dope. I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap now. They're nothing. I got mine at Guitar Center.
That's dope. Like right now we're doing a whole streaming thing. I don't really know how to grab them, how to grab each episode, but I am recording them through Streamlabs. And so if I can. Yeah. So you came in a little late on this. Well, what did you think of the Flip Wilson album?
I always love listening to. I love Flip. I love listening to the old comedy to where, even when you're cursing, when they curse, they laugh. And, as a comedian, audiences, just laugh at the weirdest stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
some of it is funny, and then some of the laughs are just like, oh my God, he just said crap or shit. It's great to hear that old audience mentality.
Yes. I definitely recognize that. I recognize that since I started doing this project in general, that these are captive audiences, right? Like he definitely had this room. It felt like at a certain point that he was just open micing too. It felt like he doesn't really know where he's going to go. I love that he like hums in these like transitions between a bit. He's trying to think of what his next bit is going to be, so he starts humming, and
I see what you're saying. I dig that. Yeah.
and then and he has his captive audience, and yeah, you can definitely feel that they're not necessarily waiting for a punchline. They're laughing at his silliness. They're laughing at the words he's using. They're laughing at just the idea of the story in some cases. It's interesting.
Yeah, man, I really dig that old stuff. And like you were saying, you can hear some of, like, when I hear Lenny Bruce, I totally hear Carlin. And when you said that about Flip with Carlin, I totally hear that playfulness and that let's see where we can go with this type thing. So I love finding the history in the comedy that I grew up with that has even more history.
Right. Yeah. So that's what this is about. I mean, and then at some points, sometimes I'm playing people that are a little controversial, or not controversial, but who might say some wild shit. Like, what I mean? I played some Red Fox, like the first episode, the second episode, I played Red Fox, and he was saying some wild shit. And so sometimes it brings up, a lot of different conversations that we're having now, where everybody is so woke and everybody is so informed and everybody is, so liberal and so sensitive. It's like, well, how far does that go? Can we not listen to old comedy? Can we not listen to old music? Because they might say some shit. I mean, like some of the stuff that he was saying about, like, ugly women and shit. I could definitely see people taking that and being like, not, this isn't cool. If someone was to say it today, maybe not then, but today.
Right. I was just listening to some Red Fox, and some of the things he was saying, like, he made you think, like, I forget the bit, but he's like, what's the difference between this and that? And, you know what, I'm destroying it, so I won't go any further. Yeah. And it is sad to see people trying to reach and go back in time to try to diminish somebody or take them out. It's
Right.
it's a different time. It was a different, Red Fox was funny as hell. I would listen to you breaking down that one African American comedian, a female. It was great. You know what I mean? And to say that now would even be like racy. She would probably be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not on every venue.
Right. Right. And as you know, doing stand up in New York, it is one of those things that you have to build that momentum by getting in all the rooms, right? Like, and then that's just how it works, right? So if you start saying something that is turning off 50% of the audience nowadays, you're not gonna get the luxury of the benefit of the doubt of being invited back or
Right, or to other shows, right? You're so right.
It's an interesting thing. And Flip, I mean, what was interesting about this last thing that you just listened to was I feel like on that second half of the album, closer to the end, he was bombing, and he like walked like 4 people, and it was like, and then he got a hit when he said he called back his dragon bit. I don't know if you heard the dragon bit, but he called back. You did. And he called back the dragon bit, talking about the lady that was walking out, how he'd kill a dragon for her. It was, but he was bombing, and he kept it on the album. I would have cut that personally.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't. I know it was a little low, but yeah, you're right. I guess he was bombing, and I just took it for that's how comedy was back then. You trial and error, keep going.
Yeah.
And it was on the album. You're right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's fun stuff, man. It's fun stuff. But thanks for tuning in. It was good to hear from you. You're officially on the episode. I feel like I got your audio, even though this is coming off of my phone right now. But I think I got your audio in the YouTube and the Streamlabs recording. So you're officially a guest. You'll be credited.
Wow.
And I think you're my first guest, actually. Or no.
Honored.
I think you're my second guest. I think Nigel spoke to us about Eddie Murphy, because he does that Murphy Mondays podcast.
Okay, nice.
And we played a Eddie Murphy night a couple weeks back, and Nigel listened in, and then he got on and we talked. So you're actually the second guest. But yeah, when I put this together, dude, look at you. This is kind of how your whole comedy thing works anyway. You just stumble on to success, like. I feel like you're one of those guys where it's like every time I'm like, hey Chris, you on this? It's like, nah. And the next thing I know, it's like, Chris, you doing 5? Yeah, it's got dropped out. It's like, what?
It's true, I know. I bug out sometimes, and I gotta be more motivated. Taking a year off, doing one mic hurts so bad.
Yeah.
It was like starting over, but 5 more mics in a show, and I feel better. Back to basics.
That's what it is. Yeah, man. I mean, it is like riding a bike a little bit, man. I mean, I haven't gotten back yet. I just got my first vaccine shot, and my next one comes in a month. And once I get that, I might start getting back out there, at least open micing. I got a couple bits I'm gonna work on and see what I want to do. But yeah, no, I'm like terrified. It's like not doing stand up. Stand up is something you have to at least do once or twice a week.
Without a doubt.
It's
just to stay relevant in your own mind.
Right.
And when I came back, there's so many new faces and younger, and I'm old, and it's like I was in my head about it. I'm like, you know what? I like doing this. I don't. It was always a hobby, and now I think maybe I should act like maybe it's a part-time job.
Yeah.
And get better at it so I can feel better about it. But yeah, and then I'd kick myself out of it. It's like, all right, just go out there. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who are those kids?
Right. You can use that to your advantage. Like, I remember after running open mics for so many years, doing them was like a breeze. Unlike when I had first started doing stand up, where it was like open mics. Sometimes open mics were more intimidating to me than shows, because at least it shows it's not a whole room full of your peers judging you and or not listening to you, and it's people who are like, oh, I want to hear and see what you have to
I
do.
totally agree. And that's what I was thinking about with Flip, is that people are wanting to laugh. Like they're
Right.
laughing at that curse word. And
Right.
then, yes, I get it. But even now, people will, and it made me think of how people laugh at the silliest part of your bit, and you're like, oh, they're just willing to give up laughs. They're ready to laugh.
Right.
To where, like you're saying, you're at an open mic, it's like, these cats are going to have shows and they're judging you. And if you, I went to a mic the other night and I think I got judged because it was my first time back. And I'm like, Jesus, get a cold shoulder.
Yeah. And I mean, don't worry, because I mean, what's really happening is it's not even as maniacal and menacing as it feels. What it really is a bunch of other self-conscious losers who are in their head.
Yeah.
See, that's what's really happening.
That's what I tell myself, is like, you're too self-absorbed. They're thinking about you.
Yeah.
They're thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
And whatever bit they're working on, so don't
Right.
read too much into it in your head.
Right. You know what I mean? And, you know, some people, like, you know, myself maybe, you know, might be comparing a bit I have that's similar to a premise that you did and how much better I am than you. That could be happening, sure. But it's all a defense mechanism to keep me in the game, you know?
Yeah.
And so then after running mics for so long, it became, to do an open mic became so much more like, oh, I know exactly what's happening in this room. I'm not at all offended, or I'm not going to take any of this personally. If anything, I like the fact that they're not even fucking listening to me. I can mumble and stumble and do whatever the fuck right now. Because when I do a show, and that's another thing though, I was also had that confidence, right? Where you have to have that in your back pocket where like you're getting booked at this point. Because then you're like, yo, fuck you people. I'm going to go do a real show after this. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
you don't want to respect me? Fine. I'm going to go probably bomb, but I'm going to think to myself, I'm going to go murder at this other room. So fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just going to just yell these fucking, you know, premises at you and see what pops. And the great thing about that process, though, and working with self-centered comedians, is that when something does hit them, you know that's good.
Right. That's gold.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're totally probably right usually that the other punches that they didn't laugh at, they'll probably work in a regular room, right? Like in a real room with green audience, they'll probably laugh at a lot of things that a group of comedians would laugh at who don't find clever or not going to be on your little silly, you know, bullshit. So you could probably still use that, but it's the stuff that hits in the open mic hard that I tried to fill out my set with, you know? It's like, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to find one of those every other week or every week or so, try to build 5 or 10 of those, and that's what I'm going to do. And I know that when I hit some you know, some civilians, some civvies with this, it's going to murder, because they are, you know, they are not, you know, they haven't listened to 1,000 jokes. They haven't sat in a musty fucking backroom bar, you know, all day. You know.
That's how we get, you know. You start breaking it down. It's like, oh, that's funny. You don't laugh, but when you do laugh, it's like, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself doing that too. It's like, oh, good joke. And I sometimes even try to keep my teeth open to help them out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not frowning or judging or trying to break it down, which I am.
Yeah.
But I got my teeth out and be like, okay, I've given you some confidence. I like it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's all you could do, man. You don't have to laugh out loud every 5 seconds. But you see the vets, though. The vets, when they do mics, you know, the ones who still need to or want to do mics, they're not phased. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can smile, you can laugh or not, but like, you know, when Chris Rock is working out, Chris Rock is working out. Like, he's just gonna say, I mean, he works out at the cellar during a show, but you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Like, he sits there, he's in monotone, he's not doing all of the, you know, double setting up the premise and repeating the premise. He's not pacing. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's just pretty much just running the bits. And when you see guys who've been doing it for a while at open mics, you see them do that. And if you laugh, great. If you laugh hard, great. But I think what's really going on at a certain point is you're just trying to get the timing right and the word selection right. You know what I mean? Like,
Structure, right?
you know.
And
Go ahead.
what had been bad for me is memorize. I smoked so much pot, it was hard to memorize. But now that I've quit for a couple months, it's so much easier.
Yeah. Good.
And one thing I didn't know, like researching a little, is like Carlin, when he would work out stuff in regular venues, he would have a book and go through it and like, now use that on stage. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought it was like he memorized everything and then spit it out on stage and then listen to it later. It's like, no, he was working it out right then and there.
There is literally, number one, I don't even think at this point there's anything wrong with having a book on stage during like a real show. If you can make a stick out of it, if you can do a Dion Cole. There's a few good examples of guys who do it and they do it well and they do it respectful of the audience. It doesn't look like they're just staring. Don't stare at your phone. Bring an actual notebook with a pen or a pad with a pen, because that makes it feel like you're not, just disrespecting the audience. But first of all, I think you do that. But I hate and looking back, taking a step back from stand-up, there was just so much pretentiousness. And it's like, I've fed into it a little bit, but like, I feel like now I'm so much more obnoxious towards comedians, because it's like, y'all, it's not you personally, but in general, we are so fucking pretentious. And it's like, I remember people being like, yeah, I'm not gonna support him bringing a notebook up at an open mic, and being like, what? Why not?
Right.
The fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
You're being a dick is what you're doing.
Yes. And no other, like, hobby or whatever is that stuff tolerated. You know, trying to be against somebody.
Yeah. But in stand-up, I mean, we are combatants in many ways. And then, the whole roast battle culture has also just made that even more intense. I don't want to say toxic, but it's just more like, yeah, we're all combatants. It's all fucking comedy Mortal Kombat out here.
Right. It's right there.
And it's,
And it really is, like Dotek says, fear and love, and choose love. If you can help somebody out, it's not going to hurt your career per se, or your being funny or guy.
Right. It's not. I mean, the thing is, everyone, the one believes that, right? That's the first thing, is the fear of, man, I'm bullshitting my way into this gig. I'm bullshitting my way into this writing job. I'm bullshitting my way through this career by the skin of my teeth. If I bring this motherfucker in and he does or she does anything, that's wrong, it'll reflect back on me, and then I lose opportunities and blah, blah, blah. And to an extent, that could be true. But the reality is, though, if you're fucking funny and people make money off of you, they're gonna fire me, not you. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. Go ahead.
That's the beauty of business. You're funny. Everybody knows that you're funny. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? If you wear a good joke and make people laugh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's proof.
And I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit like this is really a meritocracy or anything. Like, the funniest people are not the richest or most famous, or, you know what I mean? Like, Beard Barnes should have 10 television shows right now, but, he doesn't. Godfrey.
25 years ago, too.
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Godfrey should be a fucking household fucking name, and not because of Vlad TV interviews, but.
Right.
But this shit is not a meritocracy. But what it is definitely a capitalist democracy. And if you are making someone money, and if you are always a sellout, whenever they have a show and they book you, people like Kareem Green, like, people are going to come to the show. Simeon Goodson, people are going to come to the show. When Jeffrey Joseph was really hot in New York, Jeffrey Joseph was a huge draw, because it wasn't even just regular people. Comedians wanted to come and see these motherfuckers perform.
Right.
And so it's like, you got a packed out room every night if you put these people on. Or the same for television and the same for everything else, And so what it really comes down to is, are you making people money? and and that's what people will keep. How you get to that point of proving that you can make the money, I don't fucking know. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's the how to get the Carnegie Hall shit.
Right.
Practice. It's like a gym, and it's a marathon, not a race. You just gotta be diligent.
Yeah. And you might not ever make it there. That's a whole nother thing that I.
See, that's one of the things, right? You might be one of the funniest guys, but just be the middle act or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird game. It's a weird game, and it ain't fair. And what we don't need is comedians being mean and shitting on other comedians. I had posted something for my birthday that I thought was funny, and it's because I have been talking this whole week about people I admire bombing, and I don't know if you saw it, but like I posted about Ray and Mike, and Ray seemed to get a little offended by it, so I took it down. But
Oh, I did see it.
yeah,
Was it, and who else? Somebody, Jay,
right,
right?
Yeah.
About the bombing? It's
yeah.
like, yeah.
It was just out of fun, like I wasn't like trying to be, but it's like anyway, people are real sensitive. What you say?
Yeah, right. It's like you never bomb until you get there,
Yeah. But but I took it down because I do truly believe, like, what, if it's not being helpful, then it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I really do believe that, like, we just as comics need to start supporting each other more and just being nicer. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's all great to big up yourself and to do that or whatever, but I think we all got to start supporting each other more. So
Definitely help other comedians out, and if it's anything about us against them, it's us against the audience. How can we make you laugh? What am I thinking, and how am I going to put it to make somebody feel laughter and happiness?
yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal every time. But Chris, I'm gonna call it a night, bro. I appreciate you checking in, and we're here every Sunday night, whenever you want, man.
Sunday night, all right.
All right.
Word. Thank you very much.
What up, bro? Peace.
All right. Bye.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Liz came through.
Liz came through. Chris jumped in.
Yes, conversation.
Yeah. Comedy vinyl vibes. That's right.